Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another night where we analyze the stock charts and what is happening currently in the stock market. Uh, First of all, happy 4th of July. I know it's a day after, but hopefully you guys had a um, safe and fun uh, July 4th weekend. But let's take a look at it. I haven't taken a look at what has happened in the market so far today. So now is the chance to really just look to see what the market has done. Because first off, let's take a look at the heat map and what has happened in the market today. So as we can see from the heat map here, the market overall today was kind of red. So to the bearish side today. Um, Amazon, so the S&P 500, Amazon was probably leading the way. Um, Overall, really green for Amazon today, almost 5% gain. The other sectors seem to be pretty beaten up today. Um, and I'm not really sure exactly what was causing uh, what has caused this. It could be some not some pre, but some post holiday sell offs, but not completely sure. But that's just and we're just technical traders, so we don't really care too much. We just want to see what the chart is. So, all right, let's hop right in. Let's look at SPY to begin. So this is SPY that I have up right now. SPY is approaching broke all time highs last week. Today, not so much weakness that I see. More, there was a sell off today, but eventually it just came back up. So today, even though it was a sell off for the most part, um, not much of not much of one. Nothing too concerning yet. So this was previous resistance or previous support broke out. Resistance. If we were to draw it, we could say new resistance is so old resistance right here, and so we're using that. We're starting to use that as support now. So you know way to see it is that we broke out of a old resistance area here around 425, 426. We broke out of that and we're making new highs. We haven't established any new resistance yet. Nothing has really posed a big enough threat. And for a resistance area to be really known, it's going to take a while. It's not going to be something that's going to happen overnight or within like a week or two. It's going to be a few weeks at most. Because you see here, this was something that took a few weeks to develop for us to see that this was the resistance from before. So first test, second test. You can even say this is part of the second test because it didn't really break it, but there was definitely a lot of selling pressure here in this area. And so we draw these resistance area, but the this resistance line, but it's pretty much an area. So as price approaches that line, or even it can go over it a little bit, but it gets rejected. That's still a resistance area. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So as we're going now, we're looking to see if this is a new support. So around 425, if that is the new confirmed support. And what does that mean? For us as traders, that means that if price ever comes back to 420, 425, that'd be a good area to pick up shares, pick up contracts, whatever however you want to play the trade. But at the moment, we haven't established any new resistance yet. And the reason why I'm keeping the rest of these lines on there is that just because a new resistance has been broken, or a new old resistance has been broken above doesn't mean that it can't come back into that area again where it comes into that range. Because until we establish that this old resistance becomes new support, we still haven't gotten anything yet. So we want to be a little bit careful on erasing these lines because it can go back into this range and trade it in for a while. Anything could happen. So as a spy today, yes, there was some selling action, and well, there was a lot of people selling lower and buying lower, but overall, it came up. This to me looks like a pretty okay candle, strong candle to me. Um, Now I'm not saying that the rest of the week we'll probably see it go higher or we'll see it fall. I'm just saying that today that's what it looks like. So um, that's something that we will have to keep an eye on. So in the rest of the week, we want to also look at the weekly to see where the weekly is too. This is the weekly, and we can see that the weekly, we're approaching all-time highs. One thing that does concern me is that we haven't really gone back and retest any lows. We haven't dipped in a while. The last sort of dip that we had was probably since October 2020. So we have gone a few months without a decent pullback. A decent pullback that I would like to see is it fall back to somewhere around the 400 level, 400 level, or close to this 50 moving average, kind of like here, something like that. I want to see a fall back down there because that people want to buy it lower, not so inclined, and that's not a huge fall. It's probably like $30 drop from current market, but I would like to see that happen. As much as we want to see uh, green days, we needed some red days for people to re-enter and everything. So curious to see when that's gonna happen. But right now we're breaking all-time highs. Even on the monthly, it looks kind of scary. The sharpness of this climb. And it doesn't necessarily have to come back and retest any 50s. That's just something that I've noticed that it does. And the longer and more drawn out up uh, arises, eventually it's gonna come back down. So there's something to keep in mind. It could be like something like this, and a comparison to that move, we're probably like right here. So it slowly creeps up, and then eventually comes back to these 50s. So that's what I'm waiting to see. And around this 50 is a great time to get in. It might be scary if you are not used to seeing it, because that is a significant drop. So we extend this out, a few more months, maybe around 350, you know, 350, depending on how long this bullish run goes for. All right, so that's SPY. Now we're just gonna look at the positions. We're just gonna analyze positions that I'm currently in right now, unless somebody else has something that they want to look at. Usually, I just look at my things that I have position. Things like Apple. Apple is approaching a pretty cool. We can extend this. This is I drew this out, this range out a while ago, and so you know, this range is still in play because we haven't. Yes, we're above the range, but we're not above it to any significant level yet. We haven't established a huge move above this resistance. We see with this resistance has gone all the way back to September of last year when you know when Apple did its 4-to-1 split. So this resistance area, if it holds, it could be a good area to get in. But if it breaks, we want to look for an area where it could fall to. So this was a false breakout here. You can see it went above resistance, but it just couldn't keep its momentum above uh, the resistance and then it came back down. So noticing that, this could be the start of another breakout, or this could be a false breakout again. We just don't know at the time. But and what you can do as a trader is, you never know for sure, but you could just do your assessment and then get in. Like, for here, maybe you would want to set a stop down here somewhere. Around 135, get in at 142 or current market and just see how it goes. See how it goes. If it ever comes back, position yourself so that you get out at 135 and just leave that position if it comes back down, because you can always re-enter later when it's less. Like for example, here, you set a stop somewhere down here, and you see it kept you safe. You did lose a little bit of money on this drop, but not as much as if you held it all the way through. And you could see if you held it all the way through, it took you close to like 8 months for you to just finally break even again. And that's a lot of wasted time when you could have gotten stopped out here and then maybe re-enter down here and see the gains here, because the gains here would have made up for that loss here. So that's one, that's a way you can play. So we don't know right now. We don't know if this is a true breakout or false breakout yet, but rarely do you know. It's only after the matter that you know. This after a few months that we know, hey, this was a false breakout. This right here is a start right here in comparison in real time versus what we see. So we don't know how this is going to play out, if it's going to fall back down or if it's going to continue going forward. So the best thing we could do is just do a risk assessment, get in and stay in, or stay in until we get stopped out. So that's part of the trading game, taking calculated risks. There's no way to avoid it. If you can't understand that, hey, that's something that you must do as a trader, then maybe trading isn't the thing for you. To put it lightly, maybe trading is the thing for you. Look at AMD. AMD has been seeing some action also, and just like Apple, it's been playing with this range for a while. And so the last time that I played with this range, it was a false breakout. And you can see, a false breakout doesn't mean it has to go up and then straight back down. It can go up, linger for a few weeks, months, or not, and then it could fail, or it can go even higher. So right now we're really eyeing, what you should be eyeing is to see if 90 proves as a support, because here 90 didn't prove it to support. Back in December, back in January, February, it didn't prove as a support. So you want to be very careful, because the way you want to play it is you want to set a stop just below here, right? Before we were just talking about this on Apple. Want to set a stop just below here. You know, take into consideration how much you want to lose on that trade. Get in. I know that it just broke a resistance. We don't know if it's a support yet. And just put a stop below here. If the support gets taken out, oh well, you can get in, or you can get in at a cheaper price, and you can capture some more gains that will make up for the loss you incur. And, that's just how trading is. You want to fall forward every time. So AMD's playing with the range. It looks like it wanted to break above 90, but it could very well come back into this range between 75 and 90. At the moment, we don't know yet. We want to see is to see it. It could take another few weeks for it to develop. Is maybe it test the old highs, set an all time high again, and then maybe when it comes back down to retest the support of 90. Or if not, this thing just keeps going, or if it keeps falling. all good plays too, just opportunities. There's no labels of good or bad on it. It's just an opportunity. All good plays, just opportunity, just opportunity. Okay, so that's AMD. Let's look at some other ones. DDD. I hopped into DDD the other day. Um, Looks like it's the start of another run. Pretty explosive stock here. It's really speculative play, but it's in a space that I'm pretty interested in. The 3D printing. So yeah, the pattern is still pretty nice. Nothing too concerning yet. This is strictly just a play off of the 50s. Um, my position that I got in was a little high. It was closer to 37, 37, like right here. But you know, I'm thinking that it's gonna stay above and keep this pattern going. You can see, last time it's pretty explosive. And how I generally like to see my stocks is I like to play off the weekly. So when I see a play like this off the weekly and it start doing something like this, I like to get in. And these are more long out, drawn out plays, but also these are really speculative plays, meaning they they have a really high probability of losing, but they also have a high probability. Well, not high probability, but they have um, a chance to return uh, to, to return you those high numbers. Something that hopefully something more than 100%. Really explosive plays. And when you get those big returns, you get out of them. It could be, and this could be all or nothing. So these plays are really, really risky. But you have to do that risk assessment so that the risk to you isn't as much. That's how you are able to get into really risky plays, but not have it be a huge risk to you. Speculative plays. So DDD, it's in the 3D printing space. Uh, what I liked about it was this bounce off the 50 weekly, the formation of it. So hopefully just keeps going. And let's see this explosiveness of it. See how explosive it can be. As you can see here, if we look at the monthly chart, we can even see the explosiveness even more. How explosive it could be, potentially be. Right? It just dies off a while, and this is still considered pretty low. What? So we want to see it explode this way. So speculative stock. They're the same field is Pro Labs, which I am also eyeing too. Pro Labs is PRBL, PRLB. Pro Labs, the of the two that's in the 3D printing space, this is part of the better play. And if you just go based off the monthly chart, monthly chart, so this is a play that will take years to develop, not months, not weeks, years, right? But it's low enough right now to where the risk to me is very, very minimal. 'Cause, if it keeps this pattern, right now we're here, and so it's like it's equivalent to buying it here or buying it here or buying it here. And so, the next few years, I'm hoping for a huge explosion up. So that's what I've seen in it, and that's the setup that I'm seeing. So this is, this is you getting into it before the talks, before people, it hits the news, for everything. So, and why I think it's probably the bottom is, it's leveling out. We don't see huge movements anymore. And, the first month is the second month, so we'll see where it goes. It could be like this, where the movement's slow, but it still is levels off and it makes it makes it down a little bit lower. But in that case, you just want to position yourself and hold yourself so that you can catch these rise up. And that's why this is a long out, drawn out play. It's not something that you're gonna sit into for a few weeks, a few months. This is something that could take years to develop. Um, so and just the just the formation of the chart and price action here. This is why this is a better play. Also, in terms of market shares, Proto Labs is probably the bigger one of the two. Okay. One trade that's still been going really well for me is NVIDIA. NVIDIA, since its announcement of the 4-to-1 split, it's just been climbing since. I got back in and I've alerted to my people in my group, my inner circle, that, hey, this at 600, when they announced it that, hey, they're going to do that split, that it's just going to keep on climbing. So around 600 is when I got in. So right now I'm pushing close to 40%. It keeps going. My thinking is it's probably gonna keep going until they do split. Then it's gonna level off. But at the moment, waiting for that split to happen, I think people are gonna it's either gonna just continue to level off here or continue to make a little bit more of a push higher to like maybe 900 if we're lucky 1,000. But at the moment, that's the news that's out there. The 4-to-1 split that's happening on July 19th, July 20th. Um, and that's what everybody's eyeing. So when a good big company does a split like this, it's often a really good thing for them. It makes the shares more affordable, and also it allows a lot of new investors, a lot of new traders to be able to trade and hold Nvidia. So good little trade. It's probably a little too late for people to get in right now, but it's also worth just keeping it on your list because if when the opportunity does present itself again, you want to be in these bigger stocks, and you can see the opportunity to get in on the monthly. This was a good one that happened a few years ago, and when it was consolidating, you know, a few months ago, this was a good time to get in. Here, all good times. So here was So you want to keep an eye for that. Those are the opportunities that you have to look for. You see, this long drawn out. This is why I draw out these resistance support areas. 'Cause when they do break, we want to know, especially if it's a really drawn out uh, range like this. When they do explode out, it often never returns to here. And I'm thinking even after the split, if it comes down, it might just come down and use this as support, 600 level or equivalent of 600 level. So 4-to-1, 600 will probably be somewhere in the 200, the high 200s. You wanna take advantage of that when you see it. If not, it's something you miss on. But good companies, that's good growth companies that just keeps on going, keeps on producing. You want to you want to keep an eye on those. Okay. See. Now, all the people who are playing EVs, this is a good EV. Tesla's a good one too. Tesla's the higher end one. You also want to keep on a look on the smaller ones, 'cause, the laggers that have potential. Another US one, Fisker. The pattern's still good. And as I was talking about it a while ago, for people to down here was good, I don't know how many people take that advice, you know. So, it's still pretty good. You don't want to get into it when it's like all the way up here. So you want to keep an eye on it. It's still close to this 50, as close to this 50 as possible. You want to get in. This is a weekly chart, so you know this is going to be a play that's going to take a few months to develop. But how explosive the EV market has been, this isn't too late yet. You can still catch it, and if it really takes off again, it really this is something that's gonna a stock that's gonna pay for itself. So um, at the moment, it's an EV play. It's a bigger counterpart in the same sector, Tesla, same playing with this range still. It still hasn't broken out of it. This is a consolidation range, and I think it's really gonna just stick in this range for the remainder of the year. 'Cause, it had a really big run already, and it's gonna take a few months of it just consolidating. We look back at not just this stock, but NVDA. Even though they're in different sectors, they still move similar. It took many months of consolidating before Nvidia blew through the resistance. Same thing with Tesla. You know, but if you know that there is this range, if you know that there is this range that's developing or has been developing, you could position yourself. Be patient with it. You can get in at 600 or close to 600 as possible, and then you let it run through, let it climb. You know, hold through the consolidation period, few months of pains for the next few years of gains. Right? You're trading now, you're letting your money work for you. You're not working for your money. And Tesla's one of the leaders in EV at the moment. There's other automakers, but yeah, they're gonna have problems that they have to work through when they start making mass producing EV vehicles. Things that aren't apparent right now. And Tesla, it's pushing the boundaries. It's forcing everybody to move to EV, and that's what I see in it. So uh, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it keeps continuing. You know, Definitely, it's the new kid on the block in the automotive field that's really shaking everything up. It's the way I like to think of it is Tesla is a technology company that have dabbled into the automotive industry. They have shaken it up enough to where the bigger automakers are looking to make EV vehicles to compete with Tesla. And so, and with the move that everybody wants to make, within like 5-10 years, that we want to go to all EV, the many states that are already putting legislatures in place, and we have some grounds to be made here, the whole time. So Tesla is playing in the range. If you're not in already, maybe wait for it to approach 600 again. The lower 600. Today was a sell off on Tesla, which if you look at it as if you're already in it, your gains might have gone down a little bit, but it's still a very good time to get in, or be looking to get in. You know, Let it play out. Few more days, few more weeks, maybe. See how it goes. We do have an earnings report that's coming up. Earnings is July 21st, so that's something to keep an eye on. If that report is bad, we can see it fall down, but that is just an opportunity for you. See it fall down to the support level, and then probably get in, stay in. Okay. Let's see. I'm waiting for my positions to load. NVDA. So, um, a few other one was my Thinkorswim platform on my phone is taking forever to load. So bear with me. Skills. That's what skills. Skill is all technical, really speculative play, highly explosive. That's what I see in it. We don't yet know. It's still too new to know if there is real potential there. Um, but it's one where you want to risk, you know, do your risk management ahead of time. Just get into a position where you can afford to lose the whole thing, but know that hey, just because you've done that work already and you know that you can lose it all, but you have a stake in it, so that when it does explode and it does go crazy again, you're already in. So a stock like this, the formation of the weekly chart is still pretty good. The pattern's still really good here. Good time to get in, and if it explodes like this again, right, a lot of room up to be made again. If it takes this new high, or if it doesn't, if it just falls through and goes down to nothing stock. So speculative plays like that, you wanna get in with that mindset of, hey, this could be something that I completely lose everything on. And so, that's how you can stay safe in it. Wow, everybody's panicking to get in, panicking to that they missed the boat. You're already in. You're already set. It's the beginning of a stock, so you want to be very careful of it. Same thing with pay safe. Safe like this, it's holding. It's holding this weekly here, which it's a good sign. Doesn't mean that it's gonna pop up or anything. It just means that it's a good sign. That there's no more selling, no more huge selling pressure. It'll hopefully give it time to go through. We're thinking something a play like this, speculative play like this, give yourself time, like few years at most. So you don't want to be in a huge position, hold for a few years where it doesn't go anything. So put a little bit of money that you can afford to lose into it, and hold it for a few years to see where it goes. If this thing becomes like the next Amazon, or the next, not even the next Amazon thing, its counterpart is PayPal, where PayPal is like, yeah, also a payment processor again, online payment processor. This is how PayPal took off. In the first few years, it was pretty rough for it. You see here, so PaySafe, you know, it just started. You're not gonna be thinking the same thing too. You're not gonna be thinking that it's gonna take, you know, um, only like 2 months for it to go up, or only a few months for it to go up. And you're gonna think that it's gonna be like the beginning years of PayPal, where PayPal kind of did struggle for a few years. Right? Started in 2016, well, the end of 2015, and start 2016, rough year. 2017, slowly to picking up, and then it just kept going. So it could be, for PayPal it was 1 or 2 years, but for something like PaySafe, it be double that, or it could be less than that. We don't know. But at the very beginning, it did struggle. It started at 36, but look at it now. You know, Not even five, probably like 5 years, 5 years of trading. So it's a beginning stock. It's in its infancy. It's here. PaySafe is there in that level. Be careful of it. You want to be in. You want to have a stake in it, but you don't have to have such a huge stake to where it's gonna kill you. it's okay to have a small stake in it and just even $1,000 into it and just watch it go. I mean, that's the whole idea of what a good or the whole definition of what a good trade is. Good trade is where you're risking a little bit of money, but you're seeing a huge return, and the risk is calculated ahead of time. So and no one, 5 years from now, you're not gonna be beating yourself up. Hey, why didn't I get in? And saying, why didn't I get more? But you did your risk management, so it's a good trade regardless. So pay safe is one of them. That's good. It's leveling off at the bottom, so that's what's good about it. Payment processor, its competitor is PayPal. It's at its infancy stage, so don't don't think that it's gonna take just a few weeks or a few months. This could take a few years. So that's one thing with it. Then there's SoFi. SoFi is social, it's like social lending. Another stock that's in its infancy. This is a very speculative stock too. Good formation on the weekly. Stocks like this, I really like the formation of, that it's holding to the 50. Hopefully, it continues to hold on to the 50 and it goes even higher. But it's in a really good area right now, even though it's low, it's low and close to its IPO price. But it's a good stock. Another stock you want to have time in, a lot of time in. Um, Throw in what you can afford to lose. Not too much into it, but what you can afford to lose, and give it some time. 5 years or so, 5-10 years, and your future think itself could thank you for it. Then there's QS. QS has been beaten up, not beaten up, but on this monthly, it's holding. Weekly, it's holding at 200. Monthly holding. Quantumscape. This is if we're thinking the EVs being the next thing. This thing they do like the AI stuff that's around EV. So again, speculative stock, high explosion rate. Don't throw in money that you can't afford to lose into it. Only stuff that you can afford to lose. You can see we drew this range out from before, played around with it, and it broke below, but it set a new one. So this is the new support. The new support. Use that old resistance, the old support as resistance, and that's why I like to keep the old support and resistance because this is what happens. And then eventually, someday in the future, if the stock continues to maybe start to do good again, it'll use this as some resistance, break through it, use it as support, and it keeps going. So we keep that there. Number of years, number of months, number of years. Again, not a trade that's going to be an overnight thing. I mean, it could happen. Anything could happen in the market, but think 5, 10 years out with these speculative plays because they're new stocks. They're new stocks. They're not going to catch traction that fast. And when by the time they do catch a lot of traction, it's going to be too late to get in. Well, there is going to be more opportunities to get in, but if you want to be one of the first ones in, it may be too late. Okay, and then there's ChargePoint. ChargePoint, EV charging. When you find a sector that's pretty hot, everybody's the talk of the town. You want to follow other stuff that's also in that sector that sector could be using because more than likely those sectors are gonna start to do well. So there is ChargePoint, which it's similar to Plug. And you see where Plug has been going pretty crazy. It was basically a penny stock for a long time. Then it had this huge run up, and it got sold off again. But it's holding. So this is why I like to play the weekly because the weekly, you're playing the weekly, you see this long drawn out build up time for this explosion, and then you're gonna see another long out drawn out uh, consolidation period for another explosion. So perfect time to pick up plug. Um, Unfortunately, I didn't play plug. I actually played ChargePoint, but very similar chart patterns in both of them. Um, it's going to be until one is a clear victor, both of them are going to be moving very similar until one of them just completely takes it off, right? Just takes the majority of the market shares of that sector. So these guys, they're in the business of EV charging and EV charging stations. Okay, so take that how it is. PLTR, another one that people have been talking about a lot, and then right now, nobody's talking about it at all. In the consolidation period, you know, great time to be picking it up based on the weekly. You know, great time to be picking it up because people who missed it up here or bag holders from up here already added to it, but good time to be picking it up. It's close, get it closer to the 50, or even right now, it's still really good to pick up a PLTR. Watch it run. On the daily, it's already forming this formation right here. Start of a new run, hopefully. Have it take off. So good play. You see this on the monthly that it's just literally there is just a wall, a support wall right here. It just couldn't break. So it's a very good sign because what we want to see is that it tests that here, got rejected, got bought up. People are buying it. This is a monthly chart too, so seeing a candle like this on a monthly chart speaks volume. So you're seeing it being bought up here. Maybe in a few months' time, it goes back and tests all-time highs, takes off even higher. All right, let's end the session here. Thanks everybody who comes here. Hopefully, this adds value to how you um, think of the stock market, how you analyze charts and everything. Um, I'll, like I said, my early ones, this is a busy time for me. So I'll do these sessions whenever I can. I do try to commit to my Tuesday and Thursdays, but sometimes it gets really busy. So I'll do them as I can until my schedule lines up a little bit more. Um, and just thank everybody for coming and join me, and hopefully it adds to value to you and your trading. All right. Have a good one, everybody. Have a good night.